3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, Greg Cazillo from Cazillo.com. Welcome to Keep Shooting Monday number, what was it, 28 or something? What did I call it? Yes, number 28. I every time I do one of these, I find it amazing that I'm actually able to keep going with it and still finding new content on a regular basis. And so, you know, that's the coolest part of this, is that I'm able to keep finding content, keep reporting on stuff, still thinking of new ideas. I have a lot of really cool stuff that I want to do, but it's just a matter of finding a spot for it in between everything else that's going on. Like, I've had this one ebook in mind, and it's like 3/4 of the way done, and I just haven't been able to finish it. So hopefully I can spend some time and get some of that stuff going. If there are any audio or problems or anything, please send me a tweet. I'm actually looking at that right now on my phone if there's any problems. If you did want to remark on something, or you had a question or anything like that, please send those questions over. I am actually watching the feed of questions here on YouTube, and so if there's anything going on, please let me know, but send over any of those photography questions. So first things first here that I wanted to mention today is let me hold that. Okay. I have a special deal going on over on the forum. I added a couple more photos, not on the forum, on the store. I added a couple more photos to, oops, not that one. That's not for sale. That one's for sale. That one's for sale. And I moved the wrong one. Try this again. There we go. So we have that one I added, and that one I had before, that one, and that one. Anyway, added a couple new photos over to the store for sale. If you would like to purchase any of them, use the promo code Monday, and they are 50% off for this week only because of the flowers, quote unquote, photo assignment. There are a couple of really good photos that have already been posted, and I have an idea of what I think the winners are going to be. You do have until this Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time to post those photos up there, so please get them up as soon as possible. Again, I want to see more than just flowers. If you get the hint, if you get something else in there. Great flower photos are awesome, like, you know, these couple here that I'm showing you, and there's actually some really, really good, super strong, just flower photos. But I left it wide open on purpose so that you could do more than just a single flower in a photograph, or a really tight one, or something along those lines. So let's try it out. Do something a little bit different. If you've already posted one, go shoot again, shoot some more. By the way, if you do want to get on the list and see the assignments early, if you sign up for the forum, there's actually a little private area where you can sign up and see those assignments a little bit early. Actually, I'm trying to post them on Friday or Saturday of, and then of course they'd come out for the public on Monday. So head over there, sign up. You'll get that preview, Cazillo.com/forum. Don't forget, for these photos that here are on sale, again, that code is Monday. So a couple things that I wanted to talk about. I thought about doing this a long time ago, but I never did. But I'm glad somebody finally has, and I hope we come out with some kind of a single standard, which is this lens tag idea that is aiming to end camera theft and lens theft. This is awesome. Every time I look at something on Craigslist or something like that, or sometimes even on eBay, you just wonder, was this equipment stolen? Why is it so cheap? Same with like laptops and stuff like that. It's like, man, why is this thing so cheap? It just doesn't make sense to me why someone is selling this particular item so cheap and they want to get rid of it. It has to go right now. And so hopefully one of these will get promoted. I'm going to try and contact this guy. Maybe I can keep promoting him and put him up on the website and get one kind of single de facto standard, kind of like Flickr has been kind of the de facto standard for a lot of photo sharing, and they're one of the biggest ones out there as far as photo sharing is concerned. So The more the better, and maybe they'll end up with being like 4 or 5, and then they'll end up being a search engine for 4 or 5 of them. That's great, but let's find a way, let's register all of our gear so that we don't have as many issues with stolen gear. We can get it back, and that means our insurance rates are lower, that means we make more money or we save money. That's always a good thing. So I thought that was pretty neat that somebody finally starting that. Just a cool photo that grabbed my eye here. I thought it was really neat with, his shoes and his tripod on fire. Interesting. Speaking of tripods, I actually bought to just this morning I think it was a Bogan 375 tripod and a set of Brownline Strobes. Drew over at Antonelli Institute posted a yard sale link thing on Facebook, and so I went out and I said, you know what, I'll go out there, I'll see what they have. I could use another tripod, and I ended up buying a really heavy-duty tripod. I probably should have grabbed it and sat it here so that I could show you, but I didn't. I'll have to save that for another day. Anyway, it's a pretty heavy-duty tripod. It's a nice rig, and I'm going to end up buying... I bought it so that I could put a video head on it. So that was the goal of that, was to put a separate video head on that so I can carry it around and have it. Not to say that I can't switch it back and forth easily, because I can. That's the goal of any of that style tripod. You can switch those heads back and forth. But so I ended up buying that. And the Brownline Strobes, the Brownlines are nice. They're basically an older power pack. I'll put up a couple photos of this for you so you can see them. It's a separate power pack from the individual light. I typically am not a big fan of these, but I started looking at it, and for the price that I got, I paid $40 for the tripod, which is a really good deal, and $50 for the set of lights, and a couple other accessories for it. And so it worked out well. I'm actually using those lights right now, so the shot doesn't look too bad. I mean, I am in kind of a cramped back room, so there isn't a whole lot. I'm still trying to find out what... There I am. There isn't a ton of room back in this kind of back area behind the studio, but where my desk is and my server and my everything is back here. Anyway, so I got one light over there, I got one light over here. Cool thing about the Brownlines is I can turn just the modeling lights on, and they're actually brighter. So that's why I might be using them a little bit more for some studio stuff. Some of my video, that kind of thing. I don't even have to have the strobe on right now, and so the strobe itself is off, just the modeling lights are on, which is really neat. So I buy maybe a couple more of these heads, maybe a snoot, maybe a this, maybe a that, use them for just video, and these are a little bit brighter. I forget how many watt seconds, or I shouldn't say watt seconds, I should say watts, period, these modeling lights are, but they're definitely brighter than what I was using. And so yeah, so far so good. Light's not too bad. Work on it and make it a little bit better in the future, but step in the right direction is something different, basically. And for $50 for this little set that works, I can use it for more stuff, I thought it was worth it. A couple photos that I commented on and saw this week. First one is this one. I'm actually a member of Dom Bauer's what's the word want to call it, Facebook group. And I saw this photo get posted up, and I had an immediate reaction of what I thought of this image. Sometimes that happens for me, other times it takes me a little more time, but this particular one, I just had the idea immediately of exactly what my thoughts were on this image, and so I thought I would share it. By the way, I'm scrolling down so that you can see her feet on purpose, that her feet are there, so that's not the issue. The photo itself is really good. I love the light. I love how soft her skin looks. The editing, I think, is excellent. Everything works here, except for one little piece, and that's the expression on her face. For an image like this, especially with females, you need to have that right expression. She needs to be in the moment. She needs to be... in this scene, she needs to be there instead of kind of not paying attention, or just she has kind of a scared look on her face or something. Maybe there's another image, maybe there's a better one with her, a little bit different look on her face. I don't know what it is, but she just looks like she's scared and doesn't want to be there, or is bored or something along those lines. And so I don't know. I just wanted to bring this up. It's one of those things where there's that fine line in between, you know, gazing off, looking good, and gazing off, looking bad, and looking like you're uninterested. And so I just had to bring this up. I actually got his permission to show this photo, which is a neat one. So yeah, it was an interesting image here that I thought I would show, and something to talk about. Any thoughts or anything, please post that up. I'm going to check my comments here again. I'll get back to your questions here in a second. Keep typing them over on YouTube there, guys, and I'll get right back to them. Another one that I saw here that was posted over on the Cazillion's forum. Interesting image. Really cool idea. Julianne was actually out from 12 to 2 a.m. setting this up and doing this. And I thought it was really neat. Cool idea. There's one or two things that I think could make it better. The number one thing that I already suggested to her was to tone down the tent, and so the tent's already been toned down. She definitely made a difference there. I'm still not a big fan of the weeds and all that stuff there in the background. I would almost take this a step farther, and since it is very dark, you know, if you really didn't want to reshoot this and you just wanted to Photoshop it, I would almost go along, I would edit out those weeds in the background, all this stuff right here, because they're just distracting to me. And then I would duplicate some of these star trails and put them down directly in behind and around the tent. And I think that would be one more suggestion that would take this up and make it a really cool image. Neat idea. The weeds just bother me. You know, the light there, it's like they're a part of the image just by default because the light was shining on them, and so the tent was too far back in that area where the light was hitting it and exposing them. And so yeah, I ended up commenting on that one, and I thought it was an interesting image. Another one here that I wanted to talk about, and actually two parts here. This is a neat one that one of the Cazillions posted in the Cazillo photo group. And so once in a while, I have been watching those a little bit more, guys. And so if you do want to join that group, it's flickr.com/groups/Cazillo. And there's also a link up on the website right here. I think it's that one. Yep, Cazillo Flickr group. So you go up to the website, and then that one right there, you can see it okay. And so the right Flickr one. The one is my Flickr, and then the group is the right one. Anyway, neat image. Timing like this, it's all about the location and the spot, and you know, you got the good light and you got a good lens. Sorry about the beeping. I haven't been able to figure out how to get rid of it. It's the Verizon box over there in the corner. I think it's a battery issue, but they said the battery's fine. Anyway, the light, everything about it is really good. I like the blue sky. It's not all blown out, and the color is good. Everything works. Maybe it could be just a touch warmer for me, but other than that, I think it looks really good. But here's my point. This down here. I would love to see everyone, at least the Cazillions, start naming all of your images. Don't leave the default DSC, IMG, whatever image. Okay, whatever you have the image named. Give it a name. Give it a title. Make it look like you're not just throwing it up for something to do, but actually taking a little bit more time in your art, in your photography, and rename your images. Make them a little bit more special by giving them an actual name, thinking of a fun name. You'll notice that all of my images, that when I post them up on Flickr, have a name. And actually, I thought of this the other day because I screwed up. And I didn't put a name on there. I'm like, oh man, and I ended up going back and renaming these images. And so it ended up working out fine. But anyway, yeah, do me a favor, do yourself a favor, start naming those images right down here. You'll see this name, and give it some more ideas. But other than that, really neat image from Garland. Alright, so one more. This one was actually on the NBCnews.com photo blog, which I follow in my RSS reader, and I thought this was awesome. Really spectacular fireworks photo for Bastille Day over in France, and neat image all around. One of the many blogs that I follow as far as photography. A lot of the photos are just crap, and I don't want to feature them. This one I thought was awesome, and since we're talking about summertime, we have a lot of fireworks around the United States and Canada, places like that. Thought it was a neat one. Wanted to show it off. Let's get into some questions here, guys, and see what we have left. And there's a couple questions. All right. I shot a wedding this past week. I shot alone, had to rush. It was a small wedding. What is best to shoot formals in church weddings? Speed lights, strobes. What will you do in this situation? Just worry about missing shots. Well, number one, let's address that last question. If you're worried about missing shots, then you need to get your checklist that I have up on the website and slow down. Okay? Don't rush. Get the shots you need. Check your list. Don't be running around like a chicken with your head cut off, and you're going to end up doing better. If you're running around and rushing, and you're going to lose stuff, you're going to forget stuff, your exposures are going to be off, you're not going to be checking it right. So slow yourself down. Take a deep breath, and then move on, and think about what you're doing, what needs to be done, what's still left, and you're going to do a much better job. As far as lighting, I will use my SB900, SB800, even my 600 that I have, all my strobes in the church, typically with only a single light. And actually, this photo that I posted the other day up on the Flickr group, this is only a single light, single strobe from the right side coming in onto their face with an umbrella, and that's all it is. And then it's just balanced with the available light in the church, and that's it. So there really isn't a whole lot of work. The fill light here came from the available light, and then the flash on this side of their face is what is filling that shadows and that kind of thing on the other side and giving you the main light. So that's it. It doesn't take a lot of light typically in the church. It's just a matter of getting a good balance in there. How much or little retouching do you do on children's portraits? Soften the skin, enhance the eyes, remove stray hairs. Very, very little. Stray hairs are typically good, but for the most part, I don't do a lot of editing. I do my best to get everything right in camera. Obviously, with kids, you're not going to do a lot. Hair and makeup, sometimes you will need to make those changes and edit a little bit, but I have not been doing a whole lot of editing lately, and color, contrast, white balance, maybe a little sharpening, and that for the most part is everything that I'll do on most of my my portraits when I'm posting them. So a couple questions here. What should I do when my Sigma 610 Super Flash stops working when my Pocket Wizard Plus 3s? In the proper wireless mode because my Sigma still works with Plus 3s, but newer Sigma stop reacting. It sounds like I'm not familiar with that Sigma 610, so it sounds like that there's some kind of another issue there with that unit, so I'd probably send it in and get it checked out. If it's supposed to work and it did work, and you've checked and double checked batteries, all that kind of thing, then you're probably just gonna need to send it in and get it checked out. That's probably what I would do. Julianne asked another question, white balance. How to choose the right white balance in Lightroom and not to go overboard with warm tones. This is one of those things that's kind of seasoned to taste. You need to spend a little time, get it where you want it. If you're not sure, make a couple of virtual copies inside of Lightroom. You do 3 or 4 virtual copies and then set the white balance a couple of times and choose your top 2, your top 3, something like that, and then maybe come back an hour later or a day later if it's a really important photo and check those white balance settings again. The other key to this is to make sure you have your monitor calibrated. If you don't have a calibrated monitor, you're never going to get an accurate color, and white balance is your most important color because it gets you close, and then your other ones are going to fall right in line. So start there, calibrated monitor, and then add that couple settings, couple of the virtual copies, set your white balance a couple times, let it alone, come back later, see if it's any better, and you should get a good one. But again, a lot of it's just season to taste. I like my images a little bit on the warm side. I will very rarely leave my images right on the default setting that was in the camera. I will typically adjust them a little bit warmer from, you know, the auto white balance in the camera, but then I'll adjust them a hair warmer inside of Lightroom, and so that's just my preference. But everybody's is going to be a little bit different there. Alright. These were some older questions, and I can't seem to remember which ones I answered and didn't answer. Okay, that one. Circular polarizing filters work. Did we talk about this? I'm not sure, but I'm going to answer it again. Circular polarizers work by directing the light in a certain angle and basically polarizing the light, making them all go the same way. And so it is going to cut down on reflections or add a little bit of contrast. And so they're really neat. I was actually thinking about how I wanted to do a video for a circular polarizer, but I don't have any decent ones. The ones that I have are pretty old, so I'm going to buy a new one and do a little video on that and show you how to use those circular polarizers correctly. And so yeah, that's it. So then the neutral density, he also asked about neutral densities. They are just going to cut down on the amount of light in the scene. And I actually saw a photo this week, and I forget where it was posted, of someone that took this photo, and they had like, oh, that's what it was. They took a 10-stop, what's it called? Oh, geez, what the heck is it called? Those welding masks, and there's a filter in front of the welding mask so they don't burn your eyes, but they're very green. And someone actually took this filter, put it in front of his camera, took a really long exposure of water, which is a really neat way to go, because, you know, daytime sunlight, it's going to be very rare you can get a super long exposure, but obviously you put a 10-stop filter on there, it's going to make a huge difference. And then he took that filter and found a way to color correct all that green out. It turned out really well. If I can find it, I'll retweet it or I'll repost it. But, yeah, it was pretty neat. So, yeah, that's what those neutral density filters are for, to cut down on the amount of light in that scene. And that's it. One or two more. Okay, can I find a good system to organize my photos? For example, say you have people, subcategory family, portraits. Is it better to do number of people in a shot, which will cover da-da-da-da-da? Personally, if you really want to keyword it, you don't worry about the super long list of keywords. I would just keyword it as is. You know, if it needs 50 different keywords, then you're going to have to add 50 different keywords. If you're worried about your online web galleries, then strip the metadata, strip those keywords when you go to upload them, and then don't worry about it. And so that's the best way to go, and you should be fine. So I'm actually getting a phone call here I'm going to need to take here in a minute, so I'm going to need to hang up and go. I think that is actually everything here today, guys. Don't forget, this week's photo assignment is flowers. Make sure you get those photos posted up to the forum. And what else? Oh, yes, the photos here are actually on sale. Don't forget, 50% off. And the keyword for those is Monday. So questions or anything, please let me know. Sorry I didn't get to any of your other questions here that have been posted here on the on YouTube, on the channel, or other places. I promise I will reply to those questions today or add them into next week's show. So questions or anything else, let me know. Greg Cazillo, Cazillo.com. Thanks, guys. Keep shooting. See ya.